So, you're welcome to this tutorial. This is Vital Source Technologies. The producer of this video is Truroson Joseph, the CEO of Vital Source Technologies. In this video, we shall be looking at how to create a database in Microsoft Access from scratch. So from scratch, first of all, we'll be looking at how to create tables. After table, we'll be looking at how to create relationships. Then after relationship, we shall be looking at how to create queries. Then from queries, we'll be looking at how to create reports. And after report, we'll be looking at how to create forms. So in this tutorial, these are the things we shall be covering up in the lesson. So without wasting my time, as mentioned earlier on, we shall be using Microsoft Access to create a database. So first of all, you need to launch your Microsoft Access, which comes as a component of Office Suite. So right away, I'll just head to my screen on the Windows, and on the Windows, you go to Microsoft Access. So here is Microsoft Access 2016. So I'll double click that to launch it up. Now my software is loading. Okay, so remember this database is going to be a desktop database. So here you have several templates. We have the blank database and that of the custom web app. So we are going to click on blank desktop database. So right now, your blank desktop database is open up, but you can see that you will not know the location of this. So the best thing you need to do is to save it and know where it is being located. So you click on blank desktop database, then you come to this place, you enter the name of your database. So this database, we are creating a simple church management system. So we are going to put the name as church. Then you need to choose the location of this particular software so that when you are looking for it, you can easily access that. So select our location. Then here I want to save it on the desktop. So I will select desktop, then click OK. Now I'll click on create. So when the system is opened, automatically you will see that this particular first table created, you can delay that and then proceed to add your tables. So that is what you first need to do. Okay, so now what we need to do is that we'll need to load this particular table. Then we go to create. Then we click on create our table design. So here, we first of all need to take notice of some key terms. We shall be dealing with primary key, then tertiary key. So first of all, we are creating customer table. And this customer table, as far as it is not a business aspect, so we were creating membership table. So you first of all enter ID. Then the data type for the ID, we can select auto number. So in the data type, we have three different areas here. We have the field name, field type, that is the data type, and that of description. So in the data type, we are selecting auto number. So this particular field, you cannot enter any value or a string. The system will automatically start counting from 1 to infinity. So our data type for the ID is auto number. And the next thing is that we shall be tracking out the member name. So we enter member name here. So member we shortcut as M, the name. So here This one is going to be a short test. And the next thing is that member contact. So you can say contact. Then contact will be a number. So we select the data type as number. The next thing we are going to look at is email address. And the email address is going to be a hyperlink. Please take notice that the email address, you can make it a text. However, making a hyperlink will make you to easily, when you click on it, it will send you directly to a person's email. So that is the more reason why we are choosing the data type. We are choosing hyperlink as a data type. And the next thing is that we shall also be tracking the member hometown. Member hometown. And that will also be a short test. Then member gender. So gender is also necessary for this particular test. So here we are selecting, and the gender, we want it to be, we have what we call lookup. Then in the lookup field, we shall be putting two options. That is male and female. So that in this particular aspect, we are using the lookup relationship. So that when you are using the lookup, you are going to have options to choose. So we click there, then in the data type, we go to lookup wizard and click on lookup wizard. Okay, so in the lookup wizard, this wizard creates lookup fields which displays a list of values you can choose from. How do you want your lookup field to get its values? I want the lookup field to get the values from another table of query. I will type in the values that I want. Now, the first option have to do with you creating a relationship. Maybe you already have those options in a different table of which you want to the user to select the gender, either male or female, from that particular table. But this one, we are adding our own values, such that the person will just select directly from this same table. So you select the second option and you click finish. So in the finish aspect, you see column 1. So in column 1, you type in male. Column 2, you type female. Now you click on next. Then what label would you like your lookup field? The lookup field, what gender? Do you want to limit entries of choice? Yes. We only have two gender, male or female. So it means we won't be adding any other aspect of gender here, whether transgender or whatever. We are only considering male and female. So you click the first one, then you finish. So here we are going to the next aspect, and this have to do with birthday, that is date of birth. So we give a shortcut. In date of birth is going to be a date, time, data type. So instead of date time. However, we don't want the time. Someone, you cannot remember the time that you were given birth. So we come down here, we have general, then we have lookup. So in the general field, we go to format. So in the format, you click on this particular row, and when you come down here, you see that there is general date, long date, medium date, we have short date, we have long time and medium time. So we pick short date. We don't want the time to be part of this particular data type. So that is the more reason why we come to the format and selected only short date. Now we go to the other aspect of it, and we would like to put, let's say, local assembly. Local assembly. So this local assembly tool, we will create lookup. Maybe you already know your local assembly, so click lookup. Then we'll go and add the assemblies that are in your church. Okay, so here, maybe I can just put Zongo district, Zongo assembly, then Bukiri district, Then I want to put another one, Volga district. Do not forget assembly is part, whether assembly or district, we are considering in the perspective of the church, not as the districts we have in the country. So take notice of that. So here is assembly. Then they say we have another one as Bongo district for assembly. Okay. Then they say we have Nabrango assembly. We have Nabrango Central. Nabrango Central assembly. Assembly. Okay. Then we have Nayaknia assembly. Okay. Then we have Chuchuriga. Okay. Now these are the assemblies. So you click next. You can see the display. They ask you, do you want to limit entry to the choice? We don't want to limit entry to the choice because they can be in somewhere new assemblies we created later on. So we leave it as it is. You want to store multiple values for this lookup. This aspect means that someone can select more than one assembly at a time. And that is not what we want to do. You cannot belong to more than one assembly. So for that matter, we are not going to mark this particular option. So we just click finish, and that aspect is also done. Now the next thing we are going to add is we want to add group long. So group long. There are groups in the church, and the person probably might belong to a group. Okay, so this particular aspect, probably we will need to leave it as it is, and later on we create groups. Aside that, we can also add if we wish. So we can just go to lookup wizard, then we make our own values. Then in the group we have Bible status group. Bible status group. Bible status group. Evangelical group. We have prayer group. Prayer group. We have let's say welfare group. We have, let's say, baptism group. Okay, I think these groups are okay for now. We click next. We don't also limit entries, so finish. Now here, we just have some few information here. So we can just end it here and then save this table. But before we save the table, we need to get a primary key. So we make ID as our primary key. So you click here, then you select primary key and click on it. So it means this is the primary key of this particular table. Then you click save. So you'll be asked to enter the table name. So you just enter TB, meaning table. Then member, meaning this is the members table. Member. Then our table is saved. Okay. Now we want to create another table, and this time around the table we are going to create is going to be we are going to create officers table. Okay. So we'll go to create table design. You'll enter ID. Name. Please remember that there are reserved words in programming. And if I enter name, the system has reserved name as a reserved word. So name, the system will ask that, or the system will tell me that the name is a reserved word. Okay, so if I go to the next, you can see that the name you supplied is a reserved word. Reserved words have a specific meaning to Microsoft Access or to the Microsoft Access database engine. If you use a reserved word, you may receive an error when referring to this field. So I will need to cancel that and put a distinction. Okay, so I will just put like some column to show that it is different. Okay, then we go to contact. We go to email. We'll go to date of birth. Date of birth. The next thing we are going to is hometown. Okay, hometown. Then what we also need is local assembly. Then the next thing we need is we will need a person's or the officer's profession. Okay, this is just a very simple database since it is from scratch. Okay, so that those who are learning this for the first time can really understand what we are doing. So here we have a profession. Then, of course, we can add a title, and the title have to do with whether it's a Mr. or Mrs. Okay, so we just add the title there. Then, when we have gotten to, I think this is okay. Okay, but of course, we can add the group belong to. Now here, we are now going to make sure that we get all the necessary things that are needed here. So what we need to do is that the data type here should be auto number. So we set auto number here. Then the title, title is going to be a short text. However, we will need to make a lookup with that is Mr. or Mrs. So we're going to look at with that as we did earlier on. And here we are going to add Mr. Then Mrs. Okay. Next, finish up. Then the next thing we are coming to name, and the name should be short text. Contact can be a short text or a number. So that depends on you, but I'll go for a number. Okay. So here you come to field size. A number can never be up to 250 digits. So you can get reduced to 25 digits. Okay. Then we'll go to the next one, local assembly. So this time we want, let's say we want the local assembly to take its information from that of the members form or the members table. So we are creating a relationship using the lookup wizard. So we simply go to lookup, or better still, if that is difficult, you can make this one a number form. So that when we go to the aspect relationship, we can simply create a relationship between the local assembly in that of the officers table to the local assembly in the table, members table. So these are two alternatives. Either you pick the relationship that we can create using the lookup wizard, or we wait and then when we go to deal with the relationship itself, then we can deal with that. But because of time faster, let's just go to lookup wizard and create a relationship. So this time when we want the lookup field to get the values from another table or query. So here we click on next, then which table? Members table. Then click on next. Then what are we taking from members table? We are taking local assembly from members table. So we click on local assembly. Then here you have two arrows follow each other, then one arrow. So click on my one arrow means you are pushing what is here to the selected field over there, the selected field box. But click on this two arrows, meaning that you are moving all the entire fields, the entire information in this particular field to the selected area. So we are only focusing on creating a relationship between the officers table and that of the members table, only on the field of the local assembly. So we select the local assembly and click the one arrow. And you can see that it has been moved to this particular forum. So where you can see the local assembly over there, click next. Then do you want it to be in ascending order? No. However, we select local assembly, then we click next. So here you can see that we have not added any information to the local assembly in the members table. So here you would not see any information here. We click next. Then we do want to limit entries. No. So we finish up. Okay. The same table might be saved before relationship is created. So we click yes. Then now we enter the table name. That is officers table. Then we click on OK. Primary key must be set. So we need to put a primary key, put it on ID. Okay. Then we save this table. But I think it is appropriate we add the picture of the officer and we'll go to do that to that of the member. So picture or ID picture. Okay. Then picture in database, most of the Microsoft Access is attachment. So we select attachment here. Then we click save. So we have created two tables. Okay. Now the next thing we are going to add up is we are creating another table for ties and offerings. So here we are going to have serial number. Then we are going to have ID. Then we are going to have member name. We are going to have amount, height amount, height amount, height amount. Okay. Then we are going to payment date. It's the person making this payment. So you can put payment date. Payment date. And the next thing we are going to do is we are going to put the month the person is making the payment. So select month. So this person is paying his time for a particular month. So you need to be specific. So here we go to the short text there. Then we select look at wizard. We go to enter the month names. So the first one we have January. February, March, April, June, July, August, September, November. Then the last one is December. All right, so we click on next, save. Okay, so these are the field we have. So the last one we are going to put is we are going to put now let's take notice of this. We will need to make this one the primary key. Then each data type should be auto. So select auto. ID should also be a number. So that we can create a relationship between the ID and that of the officers table. Then the amount is going to be in currency. So we select currency over there. Amount is going to be time. Month, we have already added that. Grand total is going to be currency. So this is the table we have created on the aspect of the type. We are just making simple things. Okay, so this one is going to be table of the type. And you click on save. Okay. Then the next thing we are going to look at now is we shall be looking at creating another table for events, or let's say okay, for now let's leave these three tables so that we can finish up. I want to finish fast. We can look at a different thing. So we have three tables here. We want to simply create a relationship between these tables. Okay, so what we are going to do is that relationship, we have about 3 or 4 types of relationship. We have one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, many-to-many relationship. So we have these 3 relationships in mind, and we are going to look at how we're going to create a relationship in that of query. So to create a relationship, you simply need to go to data tools. Then under data tools, what you need to do is you are going to click on relationships. Then you can see that there is already a relationship between the officers table and that of the members table. Okay. So, but the type table is not amount, so we need to show all tables. Okay. We add a type on as well. Then you close. Now, we are going to look at how we are going to create a relationship here. Okay. Yeah, so this is what we have. Okay. We just want to align it small. Then we equally have this. Now, these are your tables you have. Okay. You want to create a relationship. Now, first of all, before you create a relationship in Microsoft Access, you should understand what primary key is and that of secondary key. Okay. If you have not yet learned what primary key is and that of secondary key, then you will need to go back to learn or to watch my first video and that of my tutorials guides in my website. Okay. So here we are going to look at the primary keys here. In members table, the primary key is ID. In officers table, the primary key is ID. Then in type, the primary key is serial number. Now we need to look at the information that are related. Okay, so we can equally create a relationship. First of all, when we look at ID here, the ID is basically talking about the ID of the person. Okay, so we are going to relate the ID with that of the ID here. So to do that, you basically need to go to the ID in the type table, then you click and hold, and you drag and drop it on the officers table. Okay, now the reason is that this is the primary key, this happens to be the secondary key. Okay, and before the primary key and the secondary key will be able to relate, then there are other factors that usually contribute. One, they must both be of the same data type. For example, if the primary key is auto number, then the type or the secondary key, the tertiary key needs to be also number. It needs to be a number, auto number, then number. So if it is done that way, then these two can relate. Another thing is that if these two are not of that, then it means that when it gets to the stage of cascaded delete or update, enforce inferential integrity, you won't be able to do that. Okay, so they have to both be of the same data type. Now you just need to click and drag, then drop it on the ID. Then you can see that in officers table, we are relating ID in officers table to ID in that of type table. Okay, so here we want to make it in such a way that when an information is being updated in the officers table, then in that of the type table, the information should also be updated. So for that to take place, we need to enforce what we call referential integrity. So here you just click and check on referential integrity. Then the second one is cascade update related fields. And I just explained that if an information in the officers table is updated, the information in that of the type table that is related to the particular field in the officers table will also be updated. So here we just need to enforce that. Check this as well. And down here you can see the relationship type. It is one-to-many relationship type. Okay, so you click on create, then it is created. Now there are other factors that can make enforcing referential integrity to be possible. This only happens only when the primary key and that of the secondary key are of the same data type. The other thing is that before that can happen, then your form is not open in data view. Okay, so you need to check these two factors before you can proceed to make them or before you can go ahead to enforce referential integrity. Okay, now after we have done this, what it simply means is that one ID in the officers table can relate to as many as different users in this particular table. But one name here cannot have the same ID. They cannot have different ID. Okay, so you can see this. This one means infinity. So one ID here is connected to the ID over here. So a name in this particular table will have what? An ID. So this symbol here means infinity. So we have created a relationship between the officers table and that of the type table. I don't know if that is very clear with us. The reason is simple. We have name here. So we want the name in the officers table. If we enter a particular name in the officers table, we will go to that of the title and enter that person's name. All the related information in that of the officers table on that person should come to that of the type. Okay, should be updated automatically. So seeing this is done, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to also look at these two tables, this and this table and that table. Okay, so is there going to be anything that can create a relations between them? Absolutely yes. Of course, if you look at the two of them, you can see clearly that there is a relationship between local assembly and that of the ID. However, the local assembly over there, you should understand that what we are looking for is that this local assembly in the officers table is having something to do with the local assembly in the members table. So you will need to make sure that all those are properly done. Okay, so now if an information is being kept, however, this one is not enforcing referential integrity. So if that is to be done, you need to right click here, then go to design view, and in design, you ensure this. Okay, when you ensure that and you save and it doesn't happen, it means that they are not of the same data type. So click OK, and you see that it is successfully done, meaning that the information in this particular one, this one is having the same data type as that of this. Okay, so that is basically what we need to take notice of. So now that we have done with this, so what do we need to do? You can now see that you have your relationship created. Okay, you can see it, your relationship is created tirelessly. So you just need to save this. Okay, now since this is created, we can now proceed to also take notice of something here. We need to add ID or picture of the member. So we can add another column here called the ID. Okay, ID picture. So here is equal going to be an attachment. Very safe. Okay. After doing this, the next thing we are going to do is to create a query so that this information can be well scaled. Okay. So when you create a query, it helps you to collate your information from different fields that have related information in different fields. For example, maybe an information in members table, there's a related information in that of the type table. So query will help you to be able to gather this information from different tables to make meaning out of it. For example, if I go to the members table, you will see the name of an officer. And if you go to that of the officers table, you also see name of officer. So and if you go to that of the type, you see name over there. Okay, so that is basically what we need to take note of. But before that happens, let's go back to the database to view our relationship and see whether they can still be another relationship. For example, if we come to membership name, it means that this ID here can equally relate with the ID over there. So what it means is that the ID in the members table is a primary key, then the ID in the type table is a secondary key. So that is what we have one-to-many relationship. Means this one is relating with this, is relating with that as well. So what we need to do, we just click and hold, drag, and drop it on ID. So when that happens, we enforce what we call preferential integrity. Okay, then we'll click on create. And you can see that it has created it automatically, meaning this is a perfect relationship. Okay, so then you click on save. All right. Now, what we now need to do is that we go to create our query. We go to create. So this query, we want to create query for the three tables. And after that, we will try to also do what we call correlating related information that are needed to form a query. Okay, so here we go to query wizard. Okay, this query wizard, click on query wizard. So what are we going to do? We are creating a simple query. Then here, we are going to select which query are you creating. We first of all need to create a members query. Okay, we select our members, and we need all these informations to be there. However, we don't want this picture to repeat in this nature. We only want the image. We are not looking for the file name. We're not looking for the file location. We want an information to only the information we are going to only pick the picture. Okay, we are not in need of the source of the picture. So you transport this one back to where they came from. Okay, fine. Then now we can go ahead to click on next. Next. Then you need to give a name to this particular query. So this query, we are going to make a query kill member. Then you click on finish. And the next thing is you can see that it has been opened in data view form. Now we are going through the same process to create a query for the officers and that of the types. So we go to create table design. Sorry, rather. We're going to query. We go to create, go to query with that. And you select the one you want to create the query for. Okay, so we are done with members query. So we are going to type query. So you transfer all of them. Click on next, next, then query type. So query type. Click and finish. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is to create the last person's query, and that happens to be the officers. So you go to create, you go to query wizard. Then in query wizard, you simply need to wait patiently. Then you give it a name, but before you give it a name, transport everything there. Okay, so here you just need to, oh sorry, we need to create officers table first. Okay, so this information cannot proceed. So we just need to select officers from the list. So officers here. Okay, so we also don't need all these plenty pictures. Okay. All right, so this information, okay, then we'll click on next, next, close. When you close, you see that automatically the query has taken the information. The next thing is that we want the information, the system should pick information from different tables and collate them together to give a conclusion or analysis. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to create another query. And this query is going to come from different tables. So click create. Then instead of going to query wizard, we rather go to query design. So now that we are at queries, we need to select what? Query design. So which tables do you want to fetch the information from? First of all, we will need information from the members table, need information from the officers table, need information from the types. Okay, then you click on close. So here, what we now need to do is that we will need to cross-check the information that will be needed. So first of all, we will need the member ID, name. Then one of the important things, contact. Okay, I think this way. Then let's go to the officers table. Which other information will be needed? I think the name, then contact. Okay, so good. We are fetching information from this. So that is also who we are going to pick. Then contact. Okay. Then this information might be okay. Let's pick the name. Okay, so we have added name to it from that of the officers table. Then we can equally add name to it from the title. Okay. But this one, okay, so this is how it is going to be. Okay. Then this query, we equally want the type amount. We add the type amount with the month. Okay, so we have added this particular information. Then you please save, you run your query. So this one is going to be query. Query. Yeah, query. Okay. Click on. Okay. Then we now want to run this particular query and see the way forward. So this is the query. Okay. So if you want, you can run the query. If you don't want to, you can leave it like that. But we'll look at it later on. Okay. So you just need to save it. Okay. Now we have created this particular query. So what other query is needed? Okay. So since there's no inner code that is needed, what we just need to do is we go ahead to create our forms. Okay, so this form we're going to create is going to be data entry forms. Okay, so first of all, you can use diverse ways of creating form. However, there are simplest ways. You can use the we can use the forms wizard to create then that of. So here, before we go ahead to create forms, let's first of all create a report. So go to create, then go to report wizard. Then we are creating tiles on next. Okay, so here, what we need to do is that we click on next, then we'll put the name of the report. So then we click finish. Now they'll give us a preview for how to make edits. Wow. Okay, so we are going to edit this. You right click and go to design view. Yeah. So this way, I'm going to align everything perfectly. So here, good. Okay, so we need to realign everything. Okay, so this way. Okay, so this way. Then let's drag type amount to this place. Okay, so this way. Then okay. So we now have to align this one properly. Okay, so we have it here. So you can see that let the name matches with the name over there. But we will need to move this one up there. So I think the serial number should have come first before the ID. Yeah, so this way. Okay. Okay, so we now send serial number over there. Serial number over there. Then now here, what is next? Okay. Then this is amount. This is amount. So in the amount aspect, you will need to think we need to make it large this way. This way. You make sure that you align it there. Okay. Now the other thing is think we can pick this up there. Okay, so put it over there. Okay, so let's see. So we can enlarge this form so that we can easily put all of them. Okay, so this way is okay. Okay, good. So this way we now go to put mount. Okay. Down to it. Okay, so here you can change the color. To change the color of the background by right clicking on the font. Then you go to fill and you select the color that is preferable. Good. So okay, so this is how we can even change the color for this. So that's their work. Wow. So here, now you are able to align all this text. So you will need to make sure that you put the title on top. Okay. So but before you put the title, you need to highlight all this information here so that you can make the necessary formatting. Okay. So all right, so this is what you have. So let's highlight everything and then make our necessary formatting. Okay. So okay, then we go to format. Then what color do we want to do for the text? So maybe we can leave this color for the text. Okay. Then yeah, so this way is okay. Okay. Now we need to highlight this one, make it bold. Then here we are going to make it bold. Yes, this way. Okay, so we want to also give a heading to it. As we can see, there's a heading, but it is just not big. Okay. So, okay, so this is what we have. Now we want to also format this too. Okay. Now we want to close this, but before we close it, we want it to be a proper one. Okay, so we need to select properties. Then you go to format. Then in format you look for pop-up. If it's not there, then you go to order. Then you select pop-up. Click yes. So we also need to make it either either users will be able to use appropriately. So we now need to also change it to autocorrect. Yeah, so this is what we have here. Yeah, so we are going to save the report, then close it. Okay, so where we have gotten to, I wouldn't like to be creating so many things. So this one report is okay for the demonstration sake. So the next thing we are going to do is we are now going to create forms for this particular. We create one form just to represent that. So we go to create. Then this time we are creating form wizard, using form wizard. So we create form wizard. Then what are we creating? We are creating type report, a type form. So we export all this. Then click on grand total. Then then we want to finish update with this. So the open the design for it. So here, since it's a wizard, it will automatically display this. So you create design view. Then in design view, we are going to so here, this is what we have done. So you need to squeeze this one closer this way. Okay. Yeah. So this way, then go to design view. Okay, so design view, we look at the color that matches. Okay. Okay, so this way, we can now close this report, this form. Okay, but the form you can make so many changes to it. You can go to fill and put this over there. Good. So this is what we're going to highlight this text and make it bold. Wow. Okay, so now that we have changed the color, we can close the form and reopen it again. Okay, but before we close it, we need to take some batteries. Or better, so we can finish displaying it and check to remove the batteries. Now I'm going to open form. This is what I have. You can see that it is not nice. So we need to design it nicely so it will be appropriate. So okay, so here we now want to give it a particular color. So let's say this color. Let's say this. Yeah. So this one's already in the YouTube. So now we want to also make it a pop-up little format. Then we go to or there's nothing there. Other nothing. All right, so okay, so let's look here. Do we need to put any image there? Absolutely no. Okay, so we need to format this and give it there. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we are going to save this. Meanwhile, I will need to make it pop up. Okay, so we can save it now. And, okay, so now here I'm going to select the pop-up. Okay, select the pop-up. Okay. Okay, so here you will need the form properties to now proceed to make your selection. So we are making it a pop-up. We are going to that of the center and make it center. Yeah, so now that that is done, you need to click on save to take an effect. Yes, so you can see that this is a very simple form that is being created. And you know very well that with this form, you can just get your information very simple. So now we are now going to add some buttons. Okay. So in Microsoft, as we call them buttons. So that, for example, they are command buttons. So to get a command button, you just need to navigate to the titles or the tools bar. Then you click on design. And you can see that here, this is the button. So you click on that. You go to your form and insert the button at where you want it to be. I just click and drag. Then you can see a pop-up window has appeared with so many options. So this particular button is for opening a form. Or let's say for saving. For saving records. Okay. Let's say add record. Okay, let's go. Okay. Let's add. So that is how it can be done. Now you have add. I mean, before you have add, then you need to have save. You put another thing here. Save. Okay, so over here. Okay, then let's go to this text. Records. Okay, so here we have save records. Okay, so you look for save here. Select save, save, finish. So you have just particular two options here. Okay. Okay, so this is how it is. Then click OK. I don't really want to make it mine because there's no time. So we now have to open this, and that is how it will look like. So if I type here, you can see that on the man aspect, the list of the mass have appeared. Okay. Yeah, so that is how it is. All right, so we just create this one. Then we create another form. This one on the form we are going to create, we will create members form. So before creating member form, we need a query form. So a query is already there. So we need to create a report using the the form, or let's say the report wizard. Okay, so go to report. Then which one are we creating for? We are creating for members. So select members. Members query. Okay. And put everything there. This is what we have. Click next. Okay. Let's in columnar. Okay, so it has displayed the table here. So we just need to now the form rather you just need to now design it the way you want, how you want the report to be like. Okay. So we just need to make the necessary corrections. Okay. Okay, so here now I can now highlight this and make my necessary formatting to a text. Okay. Transparent. Okay. Then we make it bold. And maybe I want to fill this color with something else. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay. So we'll use this one. All right. And we'll go to format. Okay, so here is this. Okay, so at the model we leave it as no. So then we try out this. This way is saved. Come back to form query. This is what you have here. Okay, this is what you have in there. Yeah. So now that we have it, we are now going to enter information in there. Before we do that, let's have a table for the members. So we'll go to create, go to one wizard, then we'll get tables members. So here we just do the adjustments here. Proceed. Okay, so okay, so this is all we have. We can do the usual thing. So this one, want to make the pictures more appropriate. So you come back here and drag this one. Good. Put this one there. Then make the changes to the fonts. Okay, so now that we have made a formatting, we can now see how that works. So this form, you see that it is not nice, so you can put some design to it. Okay, so we have it this way. Go to form design. Okay, so come to photo. Okay, see. Okay, so this way we can now save it. Okay, so here, I think, so this is where you have now. You can then design this the way you want. I'll put in some nice colors. Okay, this is okay. So here is the form. Yeah, so okay. So this way is okay. Now we can add a button that saves records. We have save. Oh, okay, so save records. Finish. Add another. Okay, so this one is add. Okay, so this is what we have. Now that we have this, then we can go ahead to run our form, then fill in some information and see how it works. So let's put email over there. So male or female, I'll select male. Date of birth, I will put something over this rate. Then we belong to middle save record. Okay, the records are saved. I'll need to add another one. So now let's go back to our report. See, you can see that the information has come here automatically, but the information is not well organized. Okay, so we just need to make sure everything here is organized appropriately. Okay, so we can just create some lines for the various information here. Highlight all of them, go to format, go to shape outline, then okay, so this is what we have. So now if I go back to type table and I enter in like uh, so I enter the amount this guy is paying for the type, then date. So now that we are done with that, we pick the match, then grand total will be a calculator field which we will look at later on. So for now, let's leave it as it is. Then I'll click on save. Your record cannot add or change the record because the related record requires a table member. You see that you cannot add because the record is already added. So let's go back to see what is over there. Let's see Untitled records. Nothing is here because we need to do something we have not done it. So that is the more reason why it's like. All right, so this is how forms and queries are created. Thank you very much for watching. Please be expecting other videos or some videos we posted in the channel. Thank you. All of us.